Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to solve the section B of ICSE Chemistry 2026 paper. We all know section B comprises of 6 questions, out of which you have to attempt any 4. So let's begin with section B, question number 3. Alex was given a solution of unknown salt Y for analysis. He performed the following tests and recorded his observation. So first is to a part of solution Y, he added silver nitrate solution to obtain a white precipitate which is soluble in ammonium hydroxide. So silver nitrate is giving white PPT, then it has to be silver chloride precipitate which is curdy white. Next, to the remaining solution, he added few drops of sodium hydroxide to obtain a pale blue precipitate. Sodium hydroxide is the reagent, so it has to be from analytical chemistry, and pale blue PPT is of copper hydroxide. So what's the question? Based on the observation made by Alex, identify the anion and cation present in salt Y. In this case, silver nitrate solution was added, white precipitate which indicates silver chloride. So the anion which is getting indicated from this hint is it's the chloride ion. So for A, you have to write chloride ion bracket Cl-1. Next, in pale blue PPT, it indicates copper ion. So Cu2 plus. Okay, so cation present is Cu2 plus copper ions. Fine. Let's come to question number 3, number 2. Study the reaction given below and answer the following. So we can see the lab preparation of nitric acid given here below 200 degrees Celsius. Give one reason for maintaining the temperature below 200 degrees Celsius, which is a common question. Here the answer is probably there are 3 answers to it, but only one is asked. You can write fuel wastage takes place. You can also write excess of or like high temperature can cause the breakdown of the glass apparatus, or the best one preferably is when the temperature is more than 200. When the temperature is more than 200, a white hard crust of sodium sulfate is formed, which is tough to remove. So these are the 3. You can write any one to get the marks. Next, Y is concentrated sulfuric acid used in the above reaction. Over here, why concentrated sulfuric acid is used? Why not dilute? So we all know concentrated sulfuric acid is used because it is non-volatile. If you use here dilute sulfuric acid, then it would have been volatilizes out along with the nitric acid vapor at such high temperature. So dilute sulfuric acid is not used, or like concentrated sulfuric acid is used because it is a non-volatile acid. Question number 3, subdivision 3. Element A belongs to group 15, period 2. Group 15, period 2 means the EC will be 2, 5. Group 15, so 5. Period 2 means 2 shells, so the EC will be 2, 5. And 2, 5 indicates it's nitrogen. Question is identify the element. So in the first question only you're answering the element is nitrogen. Now come to the next question. Write the formula of the compound when this element A combines with hydrogen. So if A is nitrogen and when A combines with hydrogen, we all know the formula is what's forming? Ammonia. But they asked you to write the formula. So you have to write NH3 for this question. Next, draw dot and cross structure of the compound formed in above. So in question number B, what is formed? Ammonia is formed. Ammonia is the answer basically. So NH3 is the answer. So over here you have to draw the dot and cross structure for NH3. Okay. So let's draw NH3. We all know nitrogen is having 5 electrons in its outermost shell, and they have already told you to use both dot and cross. So for nitrogen I am using cross, and for hydrogen I am using dot. And ammonia shows a covalent character, so there will be a sharing of electron. So this is the sharing, 3 single covalent bond. Since both dot and cross is suggested, you have to draw with dot and cross only and not only dot or only cross. So this is what you have to draw. Question number 3, subdivision 4. Complete and balance the following equation. The first one is from organic chemistry. So let's see the solution. So this is 1,2-dibromoethane, and to it you can see alcoholic KOH is getting added. It's better to mention 200 degrees Celsius and boil. And this is a case of dehydrohalogenation, where you can see the bromine gets out, so the halogen part goes out. So 2 potassium will come and remove 2 Br. So twice of KBr is getting removed. And from here H and OH, it will be forming water, and that too 2 molecules of water will go out. So dehydro and dehalogen both is going out, and what is left behind is C2H. This is what you have to write. Even if you miss 200 boil, then also you'll be getting the marks. Next question, ammonia excess with chlorine. It's a very common question for boards to ask. When ammonia is excess, you get to see ammonium chloride and nitrogen gas is getting evolved, and you have to balance also. So make sure you practice the balancing. Over here, ammonium chloride will be 6. So nitrogen is 8 and chlorine is 3. Now come the next equation. This is cane sugar with concentrated sulfuric acid, where it is showing its dehydrating character. So water goes out and carbon remains back. To balance it, if you forget to balance, sorry, you won't be getting any marks. So these are the 3 equations for 3 marks. Now let's head on to question number 4 of section B. Differentiate between the following pairs based on the following criteria. So this is not chemical distinguish, this is just your common sense distinguish. Acetic acid and sulfuric acid. It's given the number of replaceable hydrogen per molecule. Fine. Acetic acid, the formula is CH3COOH. So over here, only one hydrogen atom is ionizable. So replaceable hydrogen is also 1 for acetic acid. And sulfuric acid, the formula is H2SO4, where 2 hydrogen ion can be removed, basically can be ionized. So the replaceable hydrogen ion over here is 2. So over here it is 1 replaceable hydrogen, and for here you have to write 2 replaceable hydrogen ion. Make sure you write it in column. Next, electrolyte and metallic conductor. Long time back question, again repeated. Very good. The particles conducting electricity. So we all know electrolyte means the ions will conduct the electricity. Okay, so for electrolyte you'll be writing ions conduct electricity. For metallic character, the electrons conduct the electricity. That's it. Question number 4, subdivision 2. Equal volume of ammonia and chlorine gas are kept in 2 different container under same condition of temperature and pressure. After reading this 2 statement, you can understand well that this question is coming from Avogadro's law. Let's read the question further. Find the number of molecules contained in chlorine gas when the mass of ammonia is 34. Fine. We all know the mass of ammonia. Ammonia is NH3. So NH3 mass is actually 17 gram. So we all know ammonia. 1 mole of ammonia, the mass is 17. So 17 gram of ammonia is basically 1 mole. And in 1 mole there are Avogadro number of molecules, which is, what is the Avogadro number? 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 molecules in 17 grams. But over here the question is, find the number of molecules contained in chlorine gas when the mass of ammonia is 34 gram. So 17 gram this molecule. So the question is 34 gram, how many molecules? So just double it, double this value, double the Avogadro number. So the answer will be 12.044 into 10 to the power 23 molecules. And according to the Avogadro's law, if the volume is equal, and the question says equal volume of ammonia and chlorine, then it will contain the same number of molecules. So 17 gram this molecule, it was a case of ammonia. 34 gram this molecule, this is also in the case of ammonia. But since ammonia and chlorine both are having same volume, so this answer goes both for ammonia molecule as well as chlorine molecule. So the answer is this. Next question. Element PQR are in the same period of the modern periodic table. So they are in the same period. Okay, so left to right or right to left or puzzle, whatever, but they are in the same period. What hint is given? P readily loses one's valence electron to form a stable ion. So it loses electron. So P has to be a metal. Q shares its electron in bonding but does not form ion easily. So sharing thing is going on. So Q is not a metal for sure. Q has to be a non-metal type of thing, and that too not too much of non-metal. So it has to be in between somewhere. Next, R has high electronegativity, and we all know if you go from left to right in a periodic table, the electronegativity increases. So R is there in the extreme right of the periodic table. So how they are arranged in a period, as I think, P is the metal, so it's there extreme left. R is the non-metal because it's having high electronegativity, so it's there in the extreme right. And Q shares, so Q is over here because it's sharing its electron, not accepting. So not a very good non-metal, it's just a mere non-metal. Next, what's the question suggest? Answer the following question. Okay, which element would be most difficult to reduce among PQR? So reduce means which sort of elements gets reduced? We know metals are reducing agent, but metals itself get oxidized by loss of electron. So metal over here actually undergoes oxidation, but non-metal actually gets reduced. Non-metals gain electron. So which element would be most difficult to reduce? R is the non-metal, and it gets reduced easily because it can accept electron easily, whereas P cannot accept electron. P is a metal. Metals don't accept electrons. Metals lose electron. So this will not try to accept. So this will not try to reduce itself. So the answer is P. Next, which element is expected to have the smallest atomic radii? We all know left to right if you go, then the atomic radius decreases. So R will be the answer. PQR is the smallest radius is R. And the last question, arrange PQR in order of decreasing ionization potential. So we all know PQR in this way, in left to right, the IP, ionization potential, increases. So you have to write it in decreasing order. So the answer will be decreasing. So R, Q and P. This is the answer for number C. Question number 4. Given below are some elements or compounds, some chemicals are given in the bracket, and you have to prepare the following salts. So this is coming from preparation portion of salt preparation. Use suitable chemicals from the box. Write balanced equation for the preparation of the following salts. The first thing they are telling to prepare is lead carbonate. To prepare lead carbonate, you have to take up some lead substance and carbonate oriented substance. So if I take lead oxide, again lead oxide is insoluble, so let's avoid it. You can take lead nitrate because it's the only salt which is of lead which is very, very soluble. So lead nitrate you can take, and you have to make carbonate. Okay, you have to add carbonate to it. So for that you can add copper carbonate or sodium carbonate, but again sodium salts are soluble, so it's best to add sodium carbonate because copper carbonate shows insolubility. So lead nitrate and sodium carbonate. Let's frame the equation. Basically, this sort of questions can have variety of answers, but again we have to write, or the correct marks will be given for the best suited answer only. So lead nitrate and sodium carbonate, if we take, just do double decomposition, lead carbonate is getting formed and sodium nitrate. Balance it and it is done. Next question is to prepare copper chloride. So to prepare copper chloride, you have to take copper oriented something and chlorine oriented something. So if you take copper, and for chlorine, if you take copper and chlorine, they do not form any synthesis reaction, so it's not a done thing. Copper and HCl, no, copper will not displace hydrogen, so that is also not possible. So the combination is not with copper but with copper carbonate over here. You can take copper carbonate and HCl to form copper chloride. So over here I have taken copper carbonate and HCl, and copper chloride is getting formed with carbonic acid, which breaks down to form carbon dioxide and water. Just balance it and here it is. In the next question, you have to prepare iron 2 chloride, means ferrous chloride. So for ferrous chloride, you have to add iron and HCl, and no other option is left. Iron and chlorine, if you would have added, then ferric chloride would have formed, because ferric chloride is formed by synthesis reaction, and ferrous chloride is formed by simple displacement technique. So let's see the reaction. So if you want to form ferrous chloride, you have to add iron to HCl. So FeCl2 and hydrogen gas is going to get evolved. Just balance it. That's it. For this balanced reaction, you get 3 marks. To start with question number 5, an unsaturated hydrocarbon having 2 carbon atoms was made to react with 2 moles of hydrogen in presence of catalyst to give saturated hydro. So over here we can see that some unsaturated hydrocarbon is getting converted to a saturated hydrocarbon. Fine. Unsaturated hydrocarbons always show one type of reaction, and that is addition reaction. And that too, you are adding hydrogen gas to it. So let's see the question. The type of reaction occur. Okay, fine. Substitution is no way. So the answer is addition. An option is also given. Next, name the suitable catalyst. You know, when an unsaturated substance is added with hydrogen, you have to add it. The catalyst, suitable catalyst you can add is either nickel or platinum or palladium. Next, write balanced equation for the above reaction. So let's see how it goes. Since the question says unsaturated hydrocarbon of 2 carbons react with 2 moles of hydrogen, so you have to just add 2 hydrogen molecules to that to form a saturated one. So this has to be not ethene but ethyne. So C2H2 plus 2H2, you get total 4 hydrogen getting added to it. So it is C2H6. Now this is ethane, which is a saturated molecule, and for it you have to add 200 degrees Celsius catalyst nickel, platinum or palladium, whichever you prefer. So this is the reaction. Now come to question 5, subdivision 2. During manufacture of sulfuric acid, a chemist collected the gas formed after catalytic oxidation of sulfur dioxide. Name the gas collected. So we all know it's a part of the contact process. So sulfur dioxide on catalytic oxidation, you get sulfur trioxide. So the gas collected is sulfur trioxide. Which acid is formed when the gas collected by the chemist, means sulfur trioxide, is dissolved directly in water? So if you add direct water to SO3, then you get sulfuric acid. Why should we not dissolve this gas directly in water? Yes, this was the problem in this case. You cannot add water to sulfur trioxide. The reason goes like this, that sulfur trioxide is not that well soluble in water, and that too it evolves a lot of heat, and some misty droplets of sulfuric acid is formed because it's not mixing well. It's not well absorbed by the water. So that's a problem. So we know how to get out from it also, but just if you write this much, you'll get the marks. A huge amount of heat is evolved, and SO3 is not that way soluble in water. It forms misty droplets of sulfuric acid, which is not satisfactory. Question 5, subdivision number 3. Electroplating of spoon picture is given. Electroplating with silver. Over here you can see the cathode is, at cathode the spoon is kept, and at anode the silver rod is kept basically. The electrolyte is also mentioned here. Let's see the question. Write an equation for the reaction occurring at the cathode. So we all know at cathode means the negatively charged electrode, the positive ion goes there. So the Ag plus 1, the positive one goes there, and at cathode what happens? Reduction takes place. So it goes like this, that at cathode Ag plus 1 goes, it gets reduced, it gains 1 electron to form Ag. Ag deposit forms at basically cathode. Cathode gets thicker and thicker, we know that. Next question. Silver nitrate solution is not preferred as an electrolyte. We all know the reason is because if you use silver nitrate, then the deposition of silver will be very fast and hence not smooth and uniform. Why alternating current is not used? Yes, during electroplating, alternating current is not used because for alternating current, the polarity keeps on changing, and hence the deposition, there is no effective coating, there is no effective deposition on the the metal or the substance or the particle on which you want to electroplate. Next, what is the observation at the anode? In this case, in the case of electroplating a spoon with silver, at anode we will find the anode is getting thinner because Ag is, the anode is made up of silver. It is gaining, it is losing the electron to form silver ions. So the silver ions comes into the solution, and the Ag, the anode gets thinner and thinner, and finally it needs to be replaced. So you don't have to write the reaction, just you have to write at anode the anode gets thinner and thinner and finally needs to be replaced. Question 6 of section B, give reason. Hydrochloric acid cannot form acid salt. Yes, it's because in hydrochloric acid there is only one ionizable hydrogen ion. So one replaceable hydrogen ion. So it can only form normal salt and not acid salt. Electronegativity increases across a period. Yes, we know electronegativity increases from left to right across a period, because from left to right the nuclear charge of each element basically increases, which causes the what is electronegativity? Which causes the tendency, which increases the tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons towards itself. So you have to write the answer in terms of electronegativity. You can write more to it also, like the nuclear charge increases, the atomic size decreases, but the tendency to attract the electron towards itself also increases. Next, state whether the following statements are true or false. Organic compounds having different molecular formula but same structural formula are called isomers. No, it's the opposite. Molecular formula is same, but structurally they become different one. So the answer is false. Next, a salt is a compound formed by partial or complete replacement of hydrogen by an acid or of an acid by metal or electropositive ion. Yes, it's correct. Salt is formed in that way only. So the answer is true. Anil is a lab assistant in a college. He prepared nitric acid but stored it in a transparent container exposed to sunlight. No, it's very wrong, right? Because a nitric acid is highly unstable. After a few days, brown fumes were observed in the container and the acid turned slightly yellow. It has to have. What was the error made by Anil while storing the acid? Yes, Anil shouldn't have kept in a transparent container. You know that it's not kept in a transparent container because nitric acid is photochemically active. It gets decomposed in presence of sunlight. You know the reaction to form NO2, water and oxygen gas. Why were brown fumes observed in the container? Yes, the brown fumes were observed because nitric acid decomposes photochemically to form nitrogen dioxide, which is reddish brown in color, which overall gives a brown fumes coming out. It looks like as if a brown fumes are coming out from the container. How can the yellowish tinge of the acid be removed? For this, you can write, there are two answers given in the book. Either you have to add excess of water, then the nitrogen dioxide gas actually gets dissolved in the water and the color gets removed. Otherwise, you can also write, you can bubble through carbon dioxide or dry air, which removes or drives out the NO2 gas from the acid. So an equation-based mole concept question is given here. 32.5 gram of zinc reacts with concentrated nitric acid. They are asking how many moles of zinc is required in the reaction. So over here, how many moles of zinc is required is asked. So whatever is asked, you have to just answer for that only. We all know, okay, like zinc, the mass is given, it's 65 gram. So 65 gram is the RAM of zinc. So this is the value for 1 mole of zinc. In the question, how much zinc is given? 32.5 grams. So 65 gram is 1 mole zinc. Then half of it basically, it will be 0.5 mole of zinc. So this is the first answer. Next, find the mass of nitric acid needed. So now this time this is asked for. So you have to find out nitric acid mass. Let's find out. Don't miss the coefficient over here. Hydrogen is 1, nitrogen is 14 and oxygen is 16 into 3, 48. So it is 252. gram. The question is, find the mass of nitric acid needed if this gram of zinc is used. So for 65 gram, it's 252 gram of HNO3. So 65 gram of zinc requires 252 gram of HNO3. Then 32.5 gram requires how much? So just half of it. Just do a small unitary method and find it out. So it's just twice 1 to 6. 1 to 6 gram of nitric acid is required. Next question, find the volume of nitrogen dioxide gets liberated. So over here the question comes for nitrogen dioxide this time, and that too nitrogen dioxide volumes. Over here it's 2 mole. 1 mole is 22.4, so 2 mole will be 2 into 22.4 liter. So fine, we know 65 gram of zinc liberates 22.4 into 2 liter of nitric acid, nitrogen dioxide. So the question is with 32.5 gram. Just again half of it. Very easy calculation. I'm not doing this part also. Keeping it as it is because I know it will be getting cut off. So the answer is again 22.4 liter of nitrogen dioxide. So just this 3 answer, you get 3 marks. Question number 7 of section B. Carbon reacts with an acid to form carbon dioxide, water and nitrogen dioxide. So name the acid used in the reaction. See, nitrogen dioxide is coming, so nitrogen has to be there. So the acid has to have nitrogen in it, and it has to be nitric acid then. So the answer will be concentrated nitric acid, because the reaction, in the reaction we all know concentrated nitric acid is used. So it's better to write concentrated nitric acid. Write balanced equation for the reaction. So let's see it. So it goes like this: carbon and nitric acid, which has to be concentrated. It forms carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide and water. And then again you have to balance. If you miss this balancing, you won't be getting the marks. Make sure you practice balancing, because an unbalanced equation fetches you no marks. 4NO2. Okay, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, oxygen is also balanced. Question number 7, subdivision 2. Bauxite is the principal ore in the commercial extraction of aluminium. Bauxite is what? Al2O3.2H2O. The Beers process is used to refine bauxite into pure alumina with caustic soda. What is caustic soda? NaOH, playing a crucial role. Yes, initial step caustic soda is required. Based on the following, okay, explain the reason behind the addition of caustic soda during Beers process. So we all know caustic soda is used because firstly it increases the alkalinity of the mixture and helps to remove the gangue present within the bauxite ore. So to remove all the impurities basically in form of red mud, you can write, but just you can write it increases the alkalinity of the solution and helps to remove the gangue present in the mixture of bauxite. Next, write balanced equation presenting between bauxite and caustic soda. So this is the first reaction of the Beers process which you have to write. So here is my bauxite, Al2O3.2H2O. You have to add caustic soda, which is in concentrated form. You can write or you can miss also. It gets formed NaAlO2 plus water. Just balance it. This is the first step to Beers test. Okay, Beers process. This is the first step to Beers process. And it will be good if you mention the temperature also, which is 140 to 150 degrees Celsius. That's it. Question number 7, observation 3, subdivision 3, sorry. Give one relevant observation for the following. Sodium hydroxide is added dropwise to calcium nitrate. So again, this is from analytical. Sodium hydroxide and calcium nitrate. Yes, calcium gives a white PPT. So you just have to write a white precipitate is formed. Since dropwise they are stating, so if you don't write about what happens in excess, fine, you will be given marks. Okay, so the answer is a white PPT is formed. Next, dilute HCl is added to iron to sulfurous sulfide, FeS. So if you add FeS to HCl, you get FeCl2 and H2S gas basically. So H2S is getting formed, so you have to write rotten egg smelling gases evolved. An amphoteric metal, you can take zinc, you can take lead, reacts to hot concentrated alkali. So in this case, hydrogen gas is getting formed, which is there in the analytical chapter. So for hydrogen gas, you have to write the test of hydrogen gas. So a colorless, odorless gas is evolved, which burns with a pop sound and pale blue flame. Next, we can see a schematic diagram given here. From here, you have to identify the reactant A, B, and C. It's not stated that you have to write the reaction, just have to identify the reactant. Okay, so better not to write the reaction itself. Okay, so ethanol to ethene. Okay, ethanol is C2H5OH to ethene. So water is getting out, so ethanol is getting dehydrated, so a dehydrating agent has to be applied, which is concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay, you have to mention. So how you're writing answer? A hyphen concentrated sulfuric acid. Give the name. Okay, don't write formula. Next, B. B is ethanol is to form ethyl acetate. Okay, fine. Ethyl acetate. So this is an ester, right? So you have to add a carboxylic acid to it, because esterification indicates a reaction between a reaction between an alcohol and a carboxylic acid in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid as a catalyst. Anyways, so to ethanol you have to add acetic acid or ethanoic acid, which is CH3COOH, so that you get to see ethyl acetate, which is CH3COO C2H5, ethyl acetate. And for number C, ethanol to form carbon dioxide and water, all that you have to do is do combustion, means you have to burn ethanol in presence of oxygen. So for C is just oxygen. So in case you need the reaction for ABC, I have given the reaction also to you, but reaction writing was not necessary. You just have to write the reactant, the name of the reactant. Okay, so for A, it is concentrated sulfuric acid. For B, the answer is ethanoic acid. For C, the answer is just oxygen. To begin with question number 8 of section B, 5.6 liter of gas Z weighs 32 gram at STP. What is the molecular weight and vapor density of Z? We all know molecular weight means again the weight of 1 mole of the substance or the gas. So 1 mole, that means, which indicates the molar volume, which is again at STP is 22.4 liter. So let's do the sum for gas Z. So you're asked what is the molecular weight. Molecular weight means the weight of 1 mole of that substance or the gas Z. That is, you have to find out its mass when the volume is 22.4 liter. In the question it is given that 5.6 liter weighs 32 gram. It is given. Then the question will be like at 22.4 liter volume, what will be the mass? So it's just 4 times. The answer will be 4 times to it. Just do basic unitary method and you get 4 times 128. Yes, 128 gram. The molecular weight is 128 gram. Next, find the vapor density. As we all know, vapor density is nothing but the molecular weight divided by 2. So molecular weight is 128 by 2. It is 64 is the vapor density. Don't give any unit to vapor density. It is having no unit. Question 8, subdivision 2. Name the following. The most electronegative element in period 2. In period 2, electronegative. So left to right, electronegativity increases. So in the extreme right, fluorine is there in period 2, right? So fluorine is the answer. Fluorine is the most electronegative element in period 2. Fluorine will be the answer. Next, the largest atom of period 3. As we all know, in period 3, the atomic radius basically decreases from left to right. So as you go, it decreases. So in the left corner, which element is there in period 3? 281. Sodium. So sodium is having the largest size in period 3. Next, given below are few elements. So which elements are given? Lithium, potassium, calcium and fluorine. Let's try to figure out where they are in the periodic table. Lithium is there in group 1. Potassium is there in group 1. Calcium is basically there in group 2. And fluorine is there in group again 17. Means ekdam in the right side. So let's answer with this, just the mere position where they are actually in the periodic table. So identify the element which has least atomic radius. So we know left to right if you go, the atomic radius decreases. So decrease and increase. So fluorine is the answer. So first answer is fluorine again. Has 2 valence electron, means the last shell electron is 2. We all know group 2 elements are having 2 electrons in the outermost shell. So calcium. So calcium EC is 2882. So 2, 2, 2. So this is the answer. Calcium. How you have to write the answer? Just write Ca. Because in question it is given in this way only. So it's better to write F and not fluorine. Calcium. You have to write Ca and not calcium in words. Okay. Next. Identify the element which is the most electropositive. Okay. So electropositive means it's metal. A good metal. So in this way metallic character decreases and in this way metallic character increases. So potassium is a better metal. Potassium is more electropositive. So the answer is K. Fine. Next comes to question 8, subdivision 4. This is the last question of the paper. K, L, M are beakers containing 3 different solutions. Fine. K consists of aqueous acetic acid, L is sodium chloride solution and M is distilled water. Fine. Name the beaker which contains only ions, and we very well know only ions matlab ionic compound. So the answer will be L because it's sodium chloride. So just have to write L and not sodium chloride, okay, because the question is for K, L and M, okay. Name the beaker which contains only molecules. So when this question coming from only molecules means it has to have the covalent character. The covalent, which one is covalent? Distilled water is having only molecules. It's very bad conductor. So distilled water. L, M will be the answer. So L, M. Next, has pH less than 7. Less than 7 means it has to be acidic. So the acid is aqueous acetic acid. You can say that it's a very poor acid or like weak acid, but still it's acid, right? So pH is less than 7. So this is for K. So the answer goes L, M and K. So with this we end the solution for section B of ICSE 2026 chemistry paper. Thank you.